Okay, what is up? This is another Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. It is April 28, 2025. NJ in London, Mike in Buffalo. The Leafs coming off a 4-3 overtime loss to the Senators, their first of this first round Stanley Cup playoff series 2025 styles. The Leafs all good, still up 3-1 with game 5 in Toronto tomorrow night. Mr. Augello, I went solo on Friday. It just didn't feel the same without you. But you're back, and you're back in business. What is up, my friend?
Well, anybody who would be told that the Maple Leafs would be up 3-1 after 4 games would have taken it.
Yeah.
Especially since the team played 3 overtime games in a row. But I looked at game 4 as a missed opportunity to put this, Senators team away. I mean, I don't think the Senators are as good as Toronto, but they've had 3 1-goal games in a row, and that means this is a toss-up. And I mean, everybody I talk to says, "Well, you can't be afraid of losing a 3-0 lead." Sure, I can, because
Of course you can.
Yeah.
That's Mike Augello, man. What do you expect?
Well, no, I mean, we've seen it happen before to LA and San Jose, Boston and Philadelphia. Claude Giroux was on one of those teams. So is it likely? No. Is it possible? Yes. And if it's the Leafs, anything is possible. So I'm just saying, they had an opportunity, and we'll talk about the Zub hit because the NHL has got their head up their ass.
Right.
This playoff. And I'll cite 4 examples of how much they're proctologists right now.
Right.
The Brandon Hagel hit on Barkov, 1-game suspension. The Matthew Tkachuk hit on Jake Gensel, which wasn't as bad as the Hagel hit, but was pretty bad. He got a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. And why did he get that? Because they wanted to prevent any chicanery at the end of the game between Tampa and Florida. Then, and it's tough to get me on the side of the Montreal Canadiens, but the Tom Wilson hit on Alexander Carrier, him not even getting a penalty, is absolutely freaking ridiculous. Now, the one with Zub sort of fell under the radar, but Zub clocks Tavares. Tavares barely can get back to the bench. He goes to the concussion spotter and is held out for, I think, 15 minutes while they test him. And just at the same time, the Leafs have a double minor power play, and their power play, which has been really good this series, sputters. And then Jake Sanderson scores So, I mean, this series maybe should have been over, but it's not. And until the team is dead, you can't celebrate.
T-Sack was a great hit. Mike, if there's not a whistle and there's not concern in the moment, how the hell did these people in New York or Toronto figure it out?
Well, which one was a great hit? Was the Zub hit on Tavares, or was the Wilson hit on Carrier? I don't
know. Again, these hits happen in 1997. That would just be another hit. Too bad, so sad. Go back to the bench. It takes you as long as it does for you to get back into the action. Today, we're looking for any little thing, and if the refs don't spot it in the moment, who's this? Like, why would you think that Toronto is going to whistle down to them and say, "Hey guys, stop the game. We saw something you didn't."
Well, he said the Wilson hit, and I disagree, but okay. He said the Wilson hit was a clean hit. I mean, I saw the video of the principal point of contact being the jaw of Alexander Carrier. So I think it's Rule 48.
If Max Domi's laying that hit on Ridley Grigg, and nobody notices except for all of us watching Grigg speed wobble back to the bench, we're not saying anything about it.
Yeah, but it's Wilson. Wilson's been suspended. So if anybody was going to – I mean, this is the thing. He's not going to get suspended. We would have heard something about the Department of Player Safety already. He's not going to get suspended because if they said that was an illegal hit, then the non-penalty call on the ice cost the Canadiens any chance at winning the series because the turnaround at that point, they tied up the game on the same shift, and then – they run away with the game. Now, the Leafs are up 3-1. the Leafs have benefited from goals from unlikely sources, Domi and Benoit.
Right.
They're getting good performances out of their core. They're getting absolutely a fantastic performance out of their defense, and the team defense has been excellent. I know that everybody is, pumping up Anthony Stolarz as the second coming of Terry Sawchuk. And he's been good at times in this series. But here's the problem, Norm. And I think it was game 2 where he faced one shot in the third period, and that just happened to be the shot that Brady Tkachuk had that tied the game. Game 4, they were suffocating them, and one or two shots, and he lets it go. For a goalie to be good, he's got to be good when they're facing 40 shots and when they're facing 14 shots.
Can I throw something out there? Mm-hmm. Joseph Woll plays game 5. Why can't he win that game? Why? What is standing in the way of Joseph Woll in game 5 at home when the Leafs have all the momentum in the series and are just a better team? Who gives a fuck who's between the pipes? Honestly, if you want to mix it up just for shits and giggles, what does it matter? He's a good goaltender and they can win. They don't need Anthony Stolarz to steal a game 5. Give it to Joseph Woll. He gets his one win. At least keep him engaged. Well,
I mean, I believe he missed practice today because he's feeling ill. So, I mean, even if Woll was available, they're going with Stolarz.
I know. The world. Okay, the Leafs Stanley Cup run does not impinge on Anthony Stolarz winning all 16 games. It absolutely does not. If he does, great, because if he's capable, great. If that's where he is in his career. But Joseph Woll is he's just not some stiff. You can put him in there and let him run through the end of this series into the next series if you wanted to. And if you can't, you're not winning anything. I'm sorry.
Well, Marcus Daly in the chat said he had a bad game for Stolarz. 3 of the goals were very stoppable.
Okay, he's allowed to, man. He's not perfect.
Yeah, but they're not going to yank him after one bad game.
Or I'm not saying yank him. Why can't you?
No, I know you're not. I know you're not. I'm just saying they are not going to do that. Stolarz, unless he's injured, is the goalie. They've made that decision. Do I think they can win with Joseph Woll? Yeah, I do. I thought I would have played Joseph Woll ahead of Stolarz, but the decision's been made, and all we can do is comment on that decision and the ramifications of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, this is like a Swayman Allmark decision. These guys are 1A and 1B. We thought for a long period of time that Joseph Woll was going to be the guy. And if he's not, that's okay. I'm all for Stolarz. But if he needs a rest and you need a goaltender to come in and just shove it down Ottawa's throats, why can't you do that? Like, if we're all believing that this whole series depends on whether Anthony Stolarz can win 16 games, we're out of our minds. We're absolutely out of our minds.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry. This does not come down to just the goalie. Number 34 needs to start scoring some more goals. Okay, the core 4, the core 5 needs to continue to keep scoring.
Well,
there's a lot of other things at play here, Mike.
I liked the fact, even though he missed a couple great opportunities, William Nylander was pissed at himself for missing those opportunities. Now, he set up the tying goal with the great cross ice pass to Ekman Larsson, and he scored a goal in that game. But he had opportunities to end that game and didn't, and he was visibly pissed at himself. And I think it wasn't the usual, like, William Nylander, I can't, I'm not going to let you know what my feelings are. So I just think that right now, they're not in as good a place had they swept it, but they're in a good place. They just have to do what they have not been able to do for every series except one over the last 9 years. Close it out.
Okay, Marner, 7 points. Nylander, Matthews, 6 points apiece. Tavares, 5 points. Riley, 3 points. They've done more than their share to this point. I would love to see Austin Matthews score some more goals. Not just because I'm selfish and want him to score for the team. I love when this fucking guy scores. He's one of the greatest scorers of our generation who hasn't scored up to the level that we've known him to score to. And there's a multitude of reasons why. However, we're in the playoffs. Roll them up. No one cares if you're hurt, and neither do you. Go get the job done. Look at up 3-1, Mike. They lost late in overtime on a fucking just an absolute prayer of a shot from the point. You can't get upset about that because 2 nights earlier, Simon Benoit scored on one of those. That's the way she goes. Now, if they are pushed to game 7, then you ask yourself about the Leafs' resolve and their ability to shut the door. They're going home for a game 5. The Sens, congratulations. You got your win. You're a feisty team. We don't like playing you. But this is perfectly set up for the Leafs to finish this off. And if they finish this off in 5, wouldn't that be, is that not the most complete, tidy series of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs so far? If they can get it done?
Sure. But I mean, all we can do is look back and say, the only definitive game was game 1. They won, blowing alert lead in the 3rd period in game 2. They did not. Oh, excuse me. Florida just took the lead.
Okay, I got money on Florida tonight, so I'm all for Florida. I've been thinking about this, Mike, and I wanted to confront you on this because you're like the Karnak. What was the guy on Carson?
Karnak the Magnificent.
Who was the Kreskin, the Canadian guy? Amazing Kreskin. Remember him?
He was an actual he was an actual magician.
What a wild show that was! I wish I was old enough to watch. I'm gonna go watch some reruns. But Mike, you complain about the Leafs not finishing things off, yet you're the one who thinks they're going to lose the series. Is it not a contradiction? Aren't you expecting this to go this way?
Yeah,
Why complain about it? You picked the Senators in 7. So this is the Senators' process getting back into that position to win in 7. Who gives a shit?
Well, I do. I'm expecting Ottawa to come back from 3-0 and win the series.
I'm complaining about the Leafs losing in overtime.
Okay. I would like the Leafs to win. I expect them to lose. I'm preconditioned on that.
You still think they're going to lose this series? Up 3-1. If they win in 5, is that a disappointment?
No, that'd be, Leaf fans should be ecstatic at that. But I'm just saying I have no confidence in this team until they show me. Until they show me, I'm not going to believe a good goddamn of what they friggin' do.
So this is where I'm at right now. I'm walking a tightrope. I know where you're coming from. I've worked with you since 2009, for God's sakes. We're pushing 20 years. But the fan base wants a couple of raw, face-painted lunatics who are going to bang the drum for the Leafs every single year like everything that's happened, all the disappointment prior to doesn't exist. What do I do, Mike?
I mean,
I know what I should do. Why don't you tell me? Just shove it down my throat, man.
I don't know what to say other than, this is a team that has disappointed. This is not the same team that is disappointed. They're a much better team defensively. I think the maturity level of their core should carry them to a series victory, but should and will are 2 different things. Right. So again, I would like to see them close this series out in game 5 at home. Do I expect them to? No. Remember, 1993, they win that big game in overtime with Mike Foligno scoring in Detroit at Joe Louis Arena.
Right.
And then they come back and shit the bed in Toronto at the Gardens, and have to go back to Joe Louis Arena for game 7 and set up the drama of Gilmore tying the game and then Nikki Borashevsky winning in overtime. It shouldn't have gone 7. It should have ended in 6, but they didn't show up in game 6.
Right. That's the crazy thing about looking back on those playoff series. The highs and just how exhilarating it made us feel. Yet 2-3 days down the line, there was more work to do. We don't look in the distance. We look in the interim. We look in the immediate. What kind of instant gratification can we get from, a game 4 win, right? Or a game 3 win? Just trying to make it through a series and get a series done. I think the difficulty that you're having jiving with a lot of fans right now, and I'm like, we can talk about the age of the fans and how much they've endured, but it's the immediate gratification versus the long-term goals of you as a fan and what you're expecting of the team. So if they win tomorrow night and they win 5 and they win a series, the difficulty is weighing out what you're expecting versus what you really should feel in the moment. Like, Mike, well, that's one thing, I guess, for you and I, and there are thousands, millions of others who still need to feel good in the moment. Okay? What's happening in 2025 may be different from 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. It may be different. If they can pull it off tomorrow night, maybe take a second to just take a breath and enjoy that moment. And then we can start bitching about them as we begin to forecast what's to come versus Tampa or Florida.
It would be nice if we could not celebrate, because like I said,
No. I'm not meaning that. You know what I mean?
Right, no, I know that. I'm just saying it would be nice if Leaf fans could celebrate and not have to go through all this strang and drong. When I think not have to stock up the nitroglycerin pills at the emergency rooms. If this team could just finish, but they seem that when they want to do something, it's always with a lot of drama.
So they lost in overtime, deep in overtime. Sanderson scores a prayer. Okay, you win a draw, you shoot from the point late in an overtime period. There's probably a high percentage that you're going to score in that moment than any other moment in the game. It's not like they just dropped their sticks and said, "You guys take game 4."
Mm-hmm. No, they didn't. I mean, hey, Ottawa's trying. They're trying to.
And they fought back. Ekman Larson scored to tie that game. They fought back. I honestly think this thing is fucking done in 5. It doesn't matter. Go put Sebastian Santomo between the pipes. Alan Bester, Ken Reggett, you name it.
From your mouth to God's ear. But
this series is done.
When I see 0-0-0 and the Leafs with more goals, then I'll believe it. Until then, the other team's still got a pulse. And the Leafs have never, this group has never proven that they can win except for one series. Now, they're playing, they're getting production out of their core. Their power play is working. Their defense is playing better. Their goaltending has been spotty but good enough. I know that everybody will point to the save percentage of Stolarz, but he's given up goals at times that you can't give up, right. and with limited shots on goal. So that's an erratic.
Not Marty, but look, it's not Marty Brodeur. It's not Dominik Hasek. I mean, you just pick some, like, who's the goaltender playing for the fucking Marlies right now? What's his name?
Matt Murray.
Matt Murray. It's not even Matt Murray who's been down this road, right? Like, this guy's got to find his own way. And that's kind of the way it is. I mean, we're going to be in for a rocky ride. Like, what's going to happen when the Leafs go down 2-0 in a conference final series? But we know in the back of our minds that they still have a lot left to give. I mean, well, how are we going to manage that after they've, blitzkrieg through the first series, finally exercise the demons of the Florida teams in the second series, and then they go down 2-0 to the Washington Capitals? Are we going to turn around and say this team is garbage? I mean, it's just all part of the battle, Mike.
Well, the result of tonight's game in Florida was not good news for the Leafs, because I think the Leafs want a lengthy series and those teams beating the crap out of each other and the Lightning had a 2-1 lead late in the third period and then gave up 2 goals in 11 seconds and lost 3-2. Vasilevsky is not
That's
the
good
best.
for me. That's good
fine,
for me.
that's fine. I'm talking about the Leafs. And I mean, I think the Leafs would have a chance of beating Tampa Bay. I don't think they have a chance of beating Florida. I don't think they have a chance in hell of beating Florida. So
why is that, Mike? Do you just
look
think
at
they're
look
man
at the
enough? Are they just not man enough because they're skilled?
Look at the game that they're playing. They're playing high pace, high skill. They've got rats coming out of their rear end with the Marchand and Bennett and Kachuk. They will drive the Leafs batshit crazy. Right. That's a series that I don't think they can win, especially with the way that the way this team is playing and the way Kachuk came back from an injury.
Are you telling me Florida's a dynasty? I don't think so.
I don't think they're a dynasty, but I think they could repeat as Eastern Conference champions. So it's like, okay, say they beat Tampa Bay in 5 games and they play the Leafs. Well, obviously they're the Cup champion, they're the favorite, and then if
they were barely the Cup champion, Mike. Florida or Edmonton, that's the sad thing is nobody gives a shit that Florida won the fucking Stanley Cup.
Well,
it was an opportunity for the Oilers to do it. They didn't, but
I do because they did. I mean, and
right. Okay.
But the point is that then they play the winner of Washington, Carolina, if things are going the way that they're currently going. And neither one of those teams are up to the level of Florida. So you're talking about Florida in the Stanley Cup final again.
Mike, you're one of the greatest astute hockey minds ever. They should be on 50 podcasts, making $100,000 a year doing this job. Like, you're an amazing guy, and we're blessed to have you. I'm very honored. And again, I appreciate it. And you're very smart. But you know as well as I do, Mike, that the way you view the Leafs it's almost unfair. And I'm the same way to an extent, but you're kind of I'm the play-by-play, you're the analyst on this show. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's almost unfair. Their future is tied into their past. You do not compartmentalize where we are today versus where we were last year and the year before that. There were completely different challenges in the years past. This year, this team might be better positioned to create more success than any team in the past. But you're not looking at it that way. You're looking at this team tied into failure with teams and players and just circumstances that have nothing to do with where we are today. Well, other than simply the shitty history of this organization. And that's why you believe this team is going nowhere, because of the lack of accomplishment in the past.
Then make me a liar and a fool. Show me. And honestly, I don't care. Like, I'm giving you what I believe, and not it's okay. Is it colored by 9 years of failure? Sure. But I'm sorry, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, are they a better team than they were 9 years ago? They don't have Jake Gardner on their blue line. They don't have, Ilya Labushkin 2.0. They don't have Justin Hall. They have a good defense. They're deeper than they've been up front. The goaltending, my opinion is clear on that one. But they're a better team overall.
Right.
But now, right now they're on the precipice of beating a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 8 years. And that'll be an accomplishment, because any team that's in the playoffs is a threat. And then they're 1 game away. If Florida beats Tampa in Tampa on Wednesday, they're 1 game away from playing the Stanley Cup champions. And I look at that team, and
I think it's going to be Florida. I'm going to tell you that right now. I think Florida. I the Panthers. What about the Panthers outside of the fact that they hold the strap? What about the Panthers and Brad Marchand as just an addition? What about them makes you believe that they are just fucking exponentially better than the Maple Leafs?
Brad Marchand is a third liner on that team.
Fuck them. Let this crew go to work against this guy. They're more talented. The Leafs are more talented.
Bullshit.
They are more talented. You take that lineup. No, okay. So again, outside of the fact they won cups. You would take
Right.
Matt Tkachuk over Austin Matthews. No general manager would take that. Even if you think that Tkachuk is tougher, no one's taking him over Matthews.
Norm, okay, if you're asking me would I take the team that has won or the team that hasn't won, I'd take the team that's won because they've proven they can win. I mean, it's not.
They barely got it done, Mike.
Who cares? They got it done.
But Mike, this is the thing we're talking about.
They got it done.
If they need to win 5 over the Senators, don't shit on the Leafs for winning in 5.
I'm not. I'm not.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I'm not. I just don't like. Okay, until I see them winning, I'm not going to believe they're going to win. That's a flaw in my character.
The Leafs are going to win in Game 5. And again, you know me, I'm not a drum banger. Like, honestly, I don't care as much as I used to 10, 15 years ago when I was on my knees in front of the TV watching, Travis Green circle the puck around the fucking, offensive zone on a power play looking for somebody to pass to. Like, it's not the same today. Right? I have kids, I have a mortgage, I have baseball, I do other things. I do this podcast because it's a historical thing. We do it. Do I love the Leafs and everything about them the same way I once did? No. That's why I do this show, so that it can bring me back. Can the Leafs bring me back? I deserve to be brought back. I've put the sweat equity into it. I'm not a fair weather fan. Bring me back. They are going to win Game 5. They're going to win it at home and get it done and wait for things to fucking finish off with Florida and Tampa. I've been one of those guys to say that I don't care what the path is. You're going to face hard at some point. If you can get it out of the way early, great. They couldn't do it last year. This year, like, guess what? Or they couldn't do it the year prior. This year, like, let's Mike, let's go. And I got to play devil's advocate because, I mean, you're very astute and you know what you're talking about, but I mean, you and I usually agree, and I'm in agreement generally, but I think the Leafs are going to finish the series off, and I think they're going to take it to Florida. Jim Roberts from Australia. It's hard to believe a team could be up 3-1 and feel such panic. I've been a fan since 76. I believe these guys are going to win it in 5. Go Leafs. Jim, are you from Australia, or are you like an expat? You Canadian? You're down there? Either way, thanks for watching us. Mike.
Well, I mean, Jim's point is very valid. I mean, yes, they're up 3-1, and all the pressure is on Toronto. I think none of the pressure is on Ottawa.
How can it be? Who's picked the Senators to win outside of you?
Right here. Yeah. Well, but that doesn't mean anything. It's right now the Leafs are not battling just the Senators. The Leafs are battling the specter of their own team and their own team's failure over the last 9 years.
Who's battling that? There are 5 guys battling that. And you know who's battling that. It's not the organization. No. It's 5 guys.
And it's the 5 most important guys. It's the 5 core guys. So, all they've ever proven is that they're good enough to get to the playoffs and lose, except for one round in 2023. And Kyle Dubas sold his soul to the devil to bring in Ryan O'Reilly and Jake McCabe and a couple other players to get them over the hump to win one round, and then they lost to Florida. Right. So I'm just saying, like, okay, the expectations here for the Leafs, it's not can you win a Stanley Cup? I mean, that's what most fans would want them. But right now it's, can you win a round? And if they can win a round, then the next step is, can you beat the Stanley Cup champion who's up 3-1 against Tampa right now?
Are we not tempering the win against the Senators?
No. Okay. They won the Atlantic Division. They had the second best record in the Eastern Conference. I think it was 4th or 5th in the NHL. They should beat Ottawa. They should have. Now, should they sweep them? No, but they should beat Ottawa.
Right.
That's step number 1. But
okay, real quick, Mikey. I don't recognize the name, but Big E, thanks for being here. I'm an old diehard about your age, guys. I agree with Mike. Florida is going to roll over us. Yep. That would be just an absolute despicable mess if the Leafs get rolled over by Florida. I'm sorry, but that Florida team could not hold a fucking candle to those fucking Wings teams that won in the 90s
Oh,
or
no,
even in the 2000s. They
I'm-
could not hold a candle against those Avs teams led by Joe Sakic.
I'm not.
And they are not like I'm sorry. Like, and again, for any Gen Zs or anybody out here, these teams today, they are not even in the same fucking pantheon as these Penguins teams that won titles. These fucking Oilers teams that won titles. The Leafs teams in the 02 with Tucker and Corson, and they're not even in the same fucking breath. So, I'm sorry, Mike. Well, they're not that great.
No, but they're great enough to win a Stanley Cup.
Sam Bennett and Matt Tkachuk, big shit.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I know you had, Matthew Tkachuk was in London.
Who cares? That was fucking 10 years ago. He's
a great player.
Mitch Marner won that tournament, Mike. Mitch Marner and Christian Dvorak won that tournament, not Matt Tkachuk.
Norm, the evidence is there. Barkov, Reinhart, Tkachuk.
You don't think that the fucking Avalanche are going to roll these guys if the Avs get there?
I'm talking about just the Eastern Conference. I picked Vegas to win it all. Okay, but I'm just saying I think Florida's coming out of the East. So
yeah, I listen. I'm with you. I'm just trying to give a yin to the yang here because you and I generally sing from the same songbook. Fair enough. Simon Murray, they're in great shape to beat Ottawa. They could win the next round 2 or at least take it to 7. Simon, thank you. If they take it to 7 against the fucking Panthers, it's not good enough. Mike said it 2 shows ago. This team needs to get to the conference finals. Okay? Look, I get it. The Panthers are the champs. Until you beat the champs, you're not the champs. What I'm trying to do is gin up a little bit more hype behind the team that we all love and appreciate and depreciate and hate because we can't get them out of our system, right? This is what it's going to be all about. You dispatch the Senators in as quick a fashion as you possibly can. You wait at the gate for one of these Florida teams to come and be present and available, and then you go at them. You just go. Mike, the only way the Leafs can beat one of these Florida teams, and not to get ahead of ourselves, is they got to go at them. If you're going to wait around with those guys for the refs to step in and give you the extra man, if you think the game plan that's helping you beat the Senators will help you beat Florida, I don't think so. And essentially, it's the same fucking thing you're going to get from these guys. It's just one group has a strap around its waist and another can barely figure out the playoffs from the regular season. Well, last word to you.
I think if the Leafs beat Ottawa and they play Florida, you will probably see Ryan Reeves in the lineup.
Sure, bring him on.
Yeah, and and Craig Berube's not going to say this, but you see these players in the playoffs right now, like Hagel, and Hagel's a valuable player, or Tkachuk, or whatever, or Tom Wilson, going out there and risking getting suspended, throwing big hits that swing the series. Will anybody care if Ryan Reeves gets suspended for 5 games? No. So
will he throw them though? Like if I'm Berube, I'm telling, listen,
the problem
get out there and fucking toss them. Don't be skating around for 6 minutes doing nothing.
The problem is that he's a liability on the ice, and when you put him on the ice, he gives the other
kick ass and take names, beat somebody up.
He's slow, and he makes bad decisions. And if they get a good line against him, that he's a walking skating minus.
So you don't think? Okay, so if the Leafs said, you know what, we're the underdogs here if we play the Florida's game, but pretty much that's the only game that's going to get us through. Why don't they just do it?
The only way they can somewhat neutralize Florida, and I'm a little hesitant to talk about this like the series is going to happen until we have the end result, the first round. But the only way they can neutralize them is if their power play is as successful as it has been against Ottawa. If you notice, Ottawa has tamped down their stupidity, like Ridley Gregg, in the last few games, because the Leafs power play went 3 for 6 in game 1.
Right.
And so, I mean,
they did nothing. It did nothing in game 4. So
right, which might invite them doing more stuff like Zoom.
Yeah, but the Senators have to look long term, Mike. The Senators are going to be facing the Leafs again in years to come with the same kind of group, maybe a different goalie, maybe not. This is a long-term game for them. Like like Travis Green, if he's realistic, doesn't think that this team can, bulldoze the Leafs and, face Tampa or Florida. If that happened, then I'm shutting the Maple Leafs franchise down. But they can take some flesh and they can set the course for more opportunity to come in the future, because we remember big moments in this rivalry, and what's happening right now is just a part of that rivalry, and in a lot of ways it's a rekindling. So again, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself here. I do believe the Leafs are going to win in 5 because they're just good enough. And I think what Travis Green and his group need to do is take as much as they possibly can from this group to get them to remember that, hey, you might go all the way this year and finally get it done. It's unlikely, but there's still a possibility. However, when it comes to our own agenda, we'll be seeing you again. And that's something that's important.
Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
No, I get it, Mike. You won't believe it till you see it. But if they win in 5, when we come back for another show, will it be, well, they didn't win in 4?
No.
Or now we got to worry about game 1 of the Florida, Tampa series? At what point can you take a breath and go, I'm good with that?
You celebrate the victory and then you move on. It's like, it's like winning a battle in a war. Great, you won the battle. Now you got to keep fighting and you got to keep going until you get the opponent to surrender. And you've got 4 opponents that you have to beat to win the Stanley Cup. That's the goal. And if they don't, okay, if they win 1 round and lose to Florida, then is this season a success or is it a failure? I'll leave it up to you folks to decide. To me, it's a failure. They won a round against a team they should beat. But now they could face a team that is just as talented or maybe more talented and hardened by the crucible of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And if they beat them, then they prove something to me. I said, what does this team need to do to stay together? Get to the conference final.
Right.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, the more we talk about the Florida Panthers, the more I want to see that matchup.
I'd like to see
Mike, I don't view things like a fan. I view things like a player. I did not play Major League Baseball, but I played professional baseball. I coach baseball. I look at sports in a different way. I want to take on the best. I want to beat the fuck out of them. I really do. I really do. And the thing is, look, Tampa might be the better matchup. The Leafs already beat them recently. Who's to say they won't beat them again, especially if Tampa gets on a run here and takes down Florida? Either one of these bloody teams, Mike, is standing in the way of the Leafs' destiny.
I want the easiest path to 16 wins and a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, well, when what you think is easy slaps you in the fucking head.
I know. We'll see.
And the thing about Florida, what bothers me is just a bunch of bullies, and the Leafs are afraid of bullies up to this point. Maybe this is the time where they can transcend that fear and become the aggressor. Right? We talk about Ottawa acting like a bunch of dummies in the first game, taking all these penalties. Well, what do you think Florida's going to do game 1?
Oh yeah. Yes, they're going to try. They're going to try to freight train. They will try to freight train Marner or Matthews or Tavares. They will try to take somebody out. That's the type of team they are, and it wins.
Right. No, I look at, man. I want a lot of what Florida has, but I do like what the Leafs have too. So Mike, there's only one way to find out. There really is, and the best way for this team to find out is get this series over in 5. Not have it linger, get rested, get reset, and basically say, whoever comes out of Florida, bring it on. We know the game plan for the Tampa Lightning. We know the game plan for the Florida Panthers. This is our time. Who gives a shit who we face? That's it. Remember, the team that the Leafs have this year is different from the ones that have failed in the past. They've brought on champions. They brought on, like, Chris Tanev. Are you not pinching yourself that this guy plays for your team, Mike? You don't think Anthony Stolarz wants to shove it up the ass of the team that had him ride the pines while Bobrovsky had all the glory last year? Like, there's a lot of other things going on that we're not taking into account.
I mean, like I said, let's watch the game tomorrow and let's see.
Okay, that's all we need to talk about tonight. Guys, I haven't asked you to like the content, subscribe to the channels. We appreciate it. Like what we're doing here. Subscribe if you're watching through the chat. Thank you very much for being here. Come back later and leave a comment below the post. That means a lot to us. Oak Ridge Ford, we've got a couple of weeks left, or a couple of days left, rather, in the month of April. 0% interest on a lot of model lines, low interest on a lot of stuff. Price hikes are coming in May. So if you're looking for a vehicle, reach out to me at Norman Oak Ridge Ford. You know I'm your guy for Leafs content. Let me be your guy for your next vehicle too. Every month, somebody from the group who supports us comes to buy a vehicle from me, and they're extremely happy. I keep it on the DL. I don't typically want to go on about it and make it a big scene, but you can be next, and I'll help you. You help me, you help Mike, you help the podcast, and we can keep going through season 8, 9, 10, and beyond. It would mean a lot. So, Mike, the game goes tomorrow. What do you think for our next show? When do you think that might work for you?
Wednesday, probably after.
Wednesday?
After hopefully a Game 5 victory, and then we can preview. We don't know whether Florida, the result of Florida Tampa, but I think we can look back on the series. But if they don't win, then we're previewing Game 6 on Thursday.
I got to think with the Leafs tomorrow night, when the puck drops, they go play that game like it's Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Really doesn't matter. The idea is just it's a one game. Go win, right? And in the back of their minds, they still have to understand that the team that you're facing right now kicked your ass in the regular season. They're not as good as you. You have a lot more fish to fry, a lot more on your agenda than it does. Go beat the fuck out of them. And I'm hoping to watch that in spades tomorrow night and enjoy the hell out of it. Because trust me, I got lots of people locally who watch the podcast, people who know I'm involved with the Leafs. And Mike, after every damn game, win, lose, or draw, they're all at me. Depending on my mood, I'm willing to deal with the onslaught. So let's just hope tomorrow, not tomorrow night, but in 2 days when I go to work, we can talk good about it, and then you and I will be able to do a podcast on Wednesday. For Mr. Augello, I'm Norm James. The Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford is out for tonight. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you soon.